Hey everyone, thank you guys for clicking on my video and deciding to come watch my video. It means a lot to me. So for starters, my name is Mia and I am a almost college student. Can you guys believe that? So crazy. So my department that I am going to be going into, or my field as I should say, is early childhood education. So, further ado, let's get started. So, today's topic and this video will be called Episode 1, Lesson 1. This is our very first video, guys, so thank you all for joining in. Today's topic is Let's Change the Way We See Toddlers. Of course, it's presented by me. I am going to be talking about it to you guys, but I did not write it. The person who wrote it was by Carolina Montessori. Um, very, detailed article if you guys want to go check it out. Beautiful. Her great grandma actually was the one who wrote it. She published it very nicely. So today's objective is, by the end of the presentation, I want all of you guys to be able to reframe your understanding on, toddler development through the Montessori lens, and identifying the core principles of child-led learning and specific development needs, such as autonomy and order, that drive toddler behavior. So a former, easier way to say this and explain this to you guys is, by the end of this video, I hope you guys change your view on the way you guys see toddlers, because it's very different, I'll tell you that. So take a minute to pause the video and write your answer down of how do you view toddlers as right now. Alright, you guys are back. Thank you. So, I definitely did not view, in my eyes, the toddler the way this article viewed it to me. So it will change your mind for sure. So first and foremost, our introduction to the Montessori toddler. Our overview is, an introduction to the philosophy of Dr. Maria Montessori, applied specifically to children aged 1 to 3. So today's purpose is to provide a practical strategies for engaging with toddlers peacefully and fostering their independence. So it's you as parents, or you as teachers, or you as babysitters, however you are working with your toddler or these toddlers, how to help you guys engage with them, like how to be more peaceful, more, a little bit more calm and a little bit more independent, or what I'm trying to get to is you giving them a little bit more freedom, but still trying to help them foster a sense of care. So today's goal is moving away from the struggle and control toward harmony, respect, joy in the early years. So we're going to try to view the positive perspectives of toddlers and not the struggle, because a lot of people think that toddlers are just very difficult. Alright, so we're going to be reframing the terrible twos. Don't know who came up with this word, but that wasn't very proper to say this, but I mean, it's the most realistic way to say it. Not that I am agreeing with that, but we are definitely going to be reframing these words, terrible twos. The common view is that the toddlers are often labeled as difficult, impulsive, and definite. Very true. We were all toddlers at some point. I've taken care of, I can't even count how many toddlers, but each one of them, they each have their own destiny, is what I'm going to say. Obviously, it's not me saying, okay, they're already leading off to adulthood. No. They have their own way of viewing the world. They're very unique little individual people. Toddlers are misunderstood individuals trying to make sense of the world. And this is the Montessori view. So this is the way that, Miss Montessori viewed, the way a toddler is misunderstood. So the positive traits. Davis highlights that toddlers are authentic, very forgiving, very capable, also very, and live internally in the present moment. I really do agree with this because toddlers, they think about today, right now. They don't remember what happened 2 days ago, and they most definitely won't remember what they did yesterday, It's more of a thing where they know what they want now and why they're here now. And, I think that a lot of people do, as of right now, as adults, struggle with this because toddlers they don't understand that, there might not be a tomorrow, so they want to get it now or tomorrow, but they don't know that the past exists, But it's in the past, of course, is what I'm not trying to get to, is where, I'm confusing you guys, sorry. But that's technically the point, Toddlers live today, but also they're very capable. A lot of people think that toddlers aren't going to be able to move a piece of block into a kitchen or a kitchen toy to the bathroom or the bathtub. They don't know how to do these things. They do. Them as little toddlers, they are starting to understand what it is to do specific tasks. And they are very capable. They're just a little bit, they need a little reassurance of, okay, why am I doing this? Or what can I help? Or what, those kinds of things. How toddlers learn. And as I say, well, not as I say, but as Miss Montessori has said, the absorbent mind is very, 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 it's there, I very truly agree with this because toddlers, they soak up what they see and what attracts them the most. They don't, focus on what is supposed to be focused on. So what I'm trying to get to is, okay, if you show a toddler this piece of paper right here, and you tell them to write A, B, and C, they won't understand that. But they absorb what they see from their parents. Okay, I see mom and dad cussing is what I'm trying to get to, and a lot of parents don't understand, is that more of the 4 and 5-year-olds, they're starting to learn a lot more words than they were learning when they were 2 or 1, They see mom and dad cussing. Okay, why are they cussing? Why is mom and dad doing it in front of the children? Why can it not be done somewhere where there's no children around? They absorb those kinds of things, and it's just not okay. But the effortless learning is children at the age have an unconscious, absorbent mind, soaking up language and culture from their environment. So it's really, really good, and I recommend that you start showing your child your culture, at the very young age. Okay, why are we praying? For those who are religious, as I am Christian and Catholic, okay, we're praying, okay? Why are we praying? You need to teach them that. Okay, we don't eat anywhere else but the dinner table. Why are we doing that? We need to show them culture because they might absorb other culture at other people's houses and they start adapting to that culture and not yours specifically. Sensitive periods. These are windows of time when a child is easily receptive to mastering specific skills such as movement or order. If they see mom and dad going to bed early, the child's going to start learning when to go to sleep early. They see their siblings brushing their teeth. They're going to start learning how to brush their teeth themselves. Or they see brother taking out the trash can. Then the little brother's going to start wanting to take out the trash can. They see sister and mom doing their nails. She's going to want to start doing her nails. These are the things where I'm getting at, where they're absorbing their environment. Hands-on experience learning is it's the most effective when it is concrete and tactile rather than abstract. I totally agree with this too, because it's better to do hands-on experience things than you telling them how to do it. So it's like, okay, you write the ABCs, you're going to write it like this, and like this. No, what you should do as a parent is get a marker and a paper and, start helping them with writing down what they have to write down, hands-on experience, Very important. Key developmental needs. Autonomy. They need to say no. The need to say no and assert independence is a healthy part of developing a sense of self. So saying no is normal. It's okay. It's supposed to be said, multiple times, because the word no is no, and they need to understand, that what's not okay and what's okay. So movement. Toddlers have a biological drive to move, consistently to develop their physical coordination, order, and, consistency, familiar routes, and organized environmental to provide, the toddlers needs to explore. Yeah, it's very, very important to understand that, you need to move, around. You need to have experience with stuff and stuff. You can't just let your child assume they know what is okay and what's not. Or a lot of parents say, okay, well, you're going to go tomorrow to school and say that you went camping, but did they actually go camping? No. The mom or dad just told them, okay, this is what we did, this is what we did, this is what we did. You need to explore for them to be honest about these things. And this is where lying comes in too. Alright, so traditional versus Montessori education. Traditional, often a top-down model where the adult dictates what and when the child learns. Montessori, a dynamic relationship between the child, the adult, and the environment. And then, of course, child-led. The child follows their own interests and works at their own pace to achieve self-mastery. So, I guess the traditional would be the public schools here, or Montessori, it's like, okay, your child and you and the environment, okay, today we're going to go fishing. What we're going to be learning about where fish, how they survive in the water, or what do they need to be able to survive, or how to fish, or, all these kinds of things. Whereas traditional is you go into a building where there's an adult who, tells you what it is to do, how to do fishing, but you're not really there, you're just learning from the perspective of a teacher. While child-led, there's a lot of these schools here where, your child's going to go into the building, there's no classes, but they're going to say, I want to paint. Okay, well, we're going to be painting today, And it creates they're learning at their own pace, and how they want to learn is up to them. But we don't really know what the effect, there's probably a chart where it shows where if traditional schools are more better or Montessori schools are much better, but yeah. Alright, the role of the adult. Important observation. The adult's primary job is to observe the child without judgment to understand their needs and interests. A lot of preschool teachers need to actually understand that your job is to help your child, understand what they're learning. Don't go assumingly and say, okay, well, Jimmy is much more smarter than Johnny, but, Johnny does this better. No. Jimmy and Johnny are two students. They're both smart. They're just very uniquely different. We're all smart in our own ways. We need to understand that we can't just absorb the child and judge, Your job is to absorb, the child. Okay, what is their needs? What do they like? Right? You can't just say, okay, you're gonna get the harder product because you're smarter. You're gonna get this one because you're not that smart. No, no, no. That is definitely a no-no, because we need to understand, as teachers, leaders, educators, parents, that every child grows up uniquely different. We all learn the same thing, but we all take it in at different levels and times. The guide. Instead of a boss, the adult acts as a guide, providing support only when the child truly needs it. Okay, well, let's say that Jimmy and Johnny, they're two boys, of course. Johnny needs a little bit more help on reading, but Johnny knows how to read it by himself. So let's say that you get both of them and you read together. Obviously, Jimmy's going to understand better than Johnny, but does Jimmy really need it? No. The main purpose and focus is getting Johnny and telling him that it's okay that we all learn at different levels and times, and you're going to help him read what's on the paper so that he understands it more. Preparation. The adult is responsible for preparing the environment to ensure it is safe and stimulating. Very, very, very important for teachers and, co-workers at the daycares, preschools, because a lot of the buildings are very, very dirty. Babies do not need that environment, or preschoolers or toddlers, because at that age, they want to grab everything. They're touching the floor. They're walking everywhere. It needs to be a safe environment. And lastly, the conclusion, taking the first step. Small changes. You don't need a full Montessori classroom, to start by slowing down or making one shelf accessible. Trust. It's very important. The foundation of this approach is trusting that your child has natural internal drive to learn and grow. Again, every child is going to learn differently. A 1-year-old might learn faster than a 2-year-old, but a 2-year-old might learn faster than a 3-year-old. 5-year-old might learn a little bit slower than the 1-year-old. We all learn differently up to our age that we are. No matter if you're 6 years old, doesn't matter if you're 18, doesn't matter if you're 20, doesn't matter if you're 40, doesn't matter if you're 60, we all learn differently. Q&A, opening the floor, for reflections on current interactions with toddlers. Ask your child questions. Ask them if they're doing okay. Ask them if they're learning, or if they get what you're teaching them. Just do what you can do best, and if you can get it, remember, we're not all perfect, guys. We all learn differently, and it's important to understand, number one, don't give up on yourself. A lot of parents assume that just because you can't do something small, it's over. No. Trust me, every educator out there, whether it's your son's teacher, your daughter's teacher, your grandmother, your mom, your dad, your grandfather, your aunt, your uncle, your sibling, your dog, we're all going to get overwhelmed by something, but that doesn't mean that we're perfect at it. And this is why YouTube exists, to help you understand what you could do to improve yourself. Talk to a therapist, talk to a friend, talk to your parents, talk to anyone who you have trust in to help you understand how to progress, guys. Very, very, very important. As first-time parents, a lot of people assume that just because you already had one kid means that your second kid is going to have a little bit more of a parent because you have more experience. No. Whether you're on your fourth kid, going on to your fifth, you're still a new parent, Everyone is going to be a new parent at some point. Even if you don't have kids, you have a dog, you're a new parent to that dog. It's all different. So, again, don't give up on yourselves, guys. You guys got this, all right? And again, go ahead and go read Miss Carolina Montessori's article, beautiful taught. Again, this is episode 1, lesson 1, and we will be back for episode 1, lesson 2. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, night, morning, whenever you're watching this. But we'll see you guys next time. Till next time. Bye-bye, guys.